Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the most exciting half hour on television, the Geno Auriemma Show. And it's quite a feat in my mind to say that without laughing.
Well, so far you got it out. Every time we do the show, you never fail to mention that it's the Geno Auriemma Show.
Well, actually, the part that I was laughing at more than that was the fact that it's the most exciting half hour.
I think our ratings are so high simply because people just can't believe how unexciting it is. And that they tune in and say, people actually do this for half an hour?
Yeah.
And they tune in to see how unexciting we can be.
And we excel every time.
We are the best at that. We are the best at that.
Well, you know, I do, before we get into this previous week's activities, at the end of last show, you started to discuss why we were wearing these bracelets. And, of course, today you're not wearing yours.
No, I took it off the other day and
which is very sad. But you started to explain last show about where we got these.
Yeah, Kara Walters' wedding the other night.
Last weekend?
Last weekend. They were at all the place settings for all the guests, and it was in memory of her mom who died of cancer. So I thought it was a neat thing that she did.
It was wonderful.
You know, everybody has been trying to get those or has gotten
they're hard
those.
to get.
They're hard to get. They're hard to get.
And for those people who don't know what they are, it's the Live Strong bracelet that Lance Armstrong started.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were $1 each, right?
And all the money went to the Lance Armstrong Foundation
for cancer research.
For cancer research. So it's a good cause. So if you see people wearing those yellow bracelets, that's what it means. And they have pink ones now for breast cancer. Also, you know, and like anything else, it will eventually evolve to, you know, you have 8 or 9 of them, you know, on each wrist.
You know, we should start maybe a headband.
Well,
wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah, yeah. You know, each human being at some point is going to look like a NASCAR driver. You know, you will have logos all over your body when you walk down the street.
Well, okay. So the South Florida game the other night. Hard to believe the first overtime game in Gamble history. Can you believe that?
I really didn't know that until after the game when somebody brought it up.
Bob said it to me during the game, I think during a break.
Really?
At the end, and I tried to think back, and I thought, oh my God, you're right, it is. It was bizarre.
I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think that the place opened in 1990, January of 1990, and here it is, you know, December of
04.
You know, 2004. 14 years, and you don't have an overtime game. That's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
Well, and I think partly because it has been such a home court advantage for you guys, and you have won quite handily many times, which leads me to this headline, this quote that I have to read and get your comments from. They're the most spoiled human beings on the face of the earth. You give them a close game, and they sit there and give me the old Tiger Woods golf clap. I hope we lose the next 10 games. That will give them something to really complain about.
Who said that? I was misquoted on that.
Oh, yeah?
I never said that.
Something tells me.
I never said that. That was...
You are lying to me right now.
I never said that. So you got to understand, like every coach has, you know, alter egos and all that. That wasn't
was your Dr. Evil?
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. I would never say something like that. And besides, I was only speaking for about, you know, 30% of the audience. The other 70% is unbelievable, especially the ones behind me, to my right, to my left. The students, by the way, were phenomenal.
They were great.
You know, the student section was full. You know, and the students were great. And I really do need to make sure I thank them because they were phenomenal. But what was inconceivable to me was just how unenergetic the crowd was.
Particularly in the first half. I made a comment about it during the game on the air that I couldn't believe how dead the crowd was.
I was disappointed in that.
But you know what? I almost wonder if they were shell-shocked.
I don't know. I mean, you know, you hear people saying, you know, I wish we had more close games because they would be more exciting.
Right.
And, you know, now we have a close game that's going to go into overtime, and with 35 seconds left or whatever in regulation,
people leaving.
People are leaving.
I know traffic is bad getting out of there, but
I just think they were nervous.
Yeah, I do too.
They wanted to hurry up, get in their car, and listen to it on the radio. You know, because they just couldn't stand to watch it in person. Or maybe they were thoroughly disgusted that, South Florida was going to take us into overtime. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it's something that's been on my mind for a long time.
Well,
I think we take winning for granted.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're absolutely right. So you're not going to just deny the fact that you said this?
People keep reminding me that I said it, and obviously, if it's in the Hartford Courant, it must be true.
Oh, it must be true.
Especially if the editor thought it was important enough to put it at the top there, it must have been, right next to what's happening in Russia
and Iraq.
And Iraq. That's probably the next most important thing.
Well, we do have highlights because there were. It was an exciting game.
That was a great game.
And I know, selfishly speaking, from my broadcasting perspective, I'm psyched to have games that are close.
Well, one reason why games are close now is because teams, I think, are very, very good at putting the ball on the floor and on the dribble. We did not do a bad job, I don't think. But one of the things that got us, I think, in trouble was we end up standing around a little bit on the offensive end.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot.
There's not that kind of fluidity of movement yet. And that might have something. This is probably the play that got everybody energized.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megan says that'll get this crowd going.
So we needed something. And then this was the next play.
Yeah, and that's what has to happen. See, and we've got to get more of these opportunities right here. See, couple more easy buckets, more off our transition. But South Florida was very difficult to play against.
They were.
Very quick with the ball.
Yep.
Defensively, very quick. Very strong inside. And I'll tell you the other thing I was impressed with. They didn't come in just hoping to keep it close.
No.
Their coach is a good friend of mine, Jose. And
Fernandez, yeah, good guy.
Good guy. Brought me a couple cigars, too, which is really, really nice of him to do that. But they didn't come in like, hey, we're going up there to, let's not get embarrassed, or let's, they came up to win the game.
Yeah.
And in their mind, hey, we're going to have to come up here in the future.
Yeah.
They're joining our league.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, if that's the way it's going to be, bring back Miami.
Well, do you realize that Nalini Miller, their big kid, was puking a half hour before they left the hotel? Well, she was sick that afternoon.
Yeah.
And she didn't start, but she came in and played really well.
She did. She played really well. And Will came off the bench and probably had the best game of her Connecticut
career. A lot
career.
of career highs, yeah.
This was a really good play that we drew up.
It's a nice screen by Strother, too.
Yeah, and it was a good pass there by Barbara.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who gave us a couple good minutes. Ashley Valley gave us some really good minutes.
Late in the game.
Yeah, yeah. I was really happy for her.
She was a good calming presence.
That's a nice pass.
Everyone talks
Houston
about
was good, man.
Everyone we talk about the 3,000 plus or 3,600 plus points in high school. She's a tremendous passer.
Yeah, she's become a really good passer. And I got to tell you, she's got a chance to be really a spectacular player.
If you don't mess her up.
Yeah, if I don't screw it up. And obviously, Barbara Turner had the kind of game that we had all, come to expect Barbara to have, coming off of last season. And there's, again, Sharday Houston. I think Sharday Houston may be as difficult a player to guard in the lane as we've had. She kind of reminds me of Swing Cash a little bit, but she's a little bit wider, and a little bit stronger.
Combination of Tamika and Swing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, when you look at that game and you see that the last 7 or 8 minutes, counting overtime and regulation. We've got Keisha and Sharday in the game.
Yeah, 2 freshmen in the game.
And the way they handled themselves in that situation, I think, was terrific.
Right, and then the overtime was interesting. You guys shut them out 10-0. I mean, it was a lot of free throws.
Well, it's the first play overtime. We get a shot blocked and get our rebound. What we were trying to do is isolate Barbara because we felt like
Yeah.
you know, we really have a huge advantage over there inside the lane, and I think that the players themselves, I think, felt really, really good. There was an awful lot of energy going into overtime, thinking about, you know, hey, this is an opportunity for us to, as Will said, to, you know, close out the game, you know, do it the right way, and you don't get very many opportunities to do that.
Right.
And I'm glad that we played the way we played in that situation.
Yeah. How big do you think was this game for your team's growing, and for their mindset? Do you think it did a lot for their confidence, or?
I'm not sure.
No.
You know, I don't think it did anything for Jessica or AB's confidence. You know, because they didn't play. But I think for Barbara and for Keisha and for Sade and Will,
certainly Will,
you know, it did an awful lot for their confidence.
Right.
So it's been that kind of, you know, we've only played 3 games. You know, South Florida's, that was their 8th game.
Their 8th game, right? You know, big difference.
It's a huge difference.
At this point in the season.
The schedule's been really screwy, you know. So we haven't played enough games really. But what I think is starting to emerge is we have a bunch of different teams.
Yeah.
You know, right now we're trying to isolate who those 4 players are that we can count on every single night. Right now I'm not sure who they are. You know Ann's going to be there. You thought Jessica was going to be there. You figure Barbara's going to be there. You think Will's going to be there coming off the bench. Maybe Sade's going to be there. Maybe Keisha's going to be solid. We don't know. You know who. 4 people have to emerge, and then you kind of, you know, roll the dice and see who comes up, you know, big that night with the other guys.
How frustrating or how difficult is that for you as a coach to go into every game or even every practice not knowing? Are you uncomfortable in that position, or is that kind of more of a common thing?
No, I mean, it becomes uncomfortable a little bit halfway through practice when I stick the steak knives in my eyes because I can't stand what I'm watching out there in practice. Other than that, though, I think I'm handling it pretty well. I think, you know, you're trying to find consistency. That if you said to a coach, what's the #1 thing you would want? Any coach in America would tell you consistency. That's what every coach strives for. I want to know every day what I'm going to get. Good or bad, I want to know. If it's going to be like this, fine, then let's deal with it. It can't be like it's this way one day, this way another day. And then the 3rd day, well, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then the 4th day, well, you want Barbara to come out and do similar things every day.
What's been the difference with Barbara Turner in the last 4 or 5 days, 6 days?
Again, just.
Is it her mindset? What has made the difference?
I said to somebody, actually I said to the guys covering the team, everything that you do begins with a mindset. And just like South Florida's mindset was to come in and win the game, Barbara's mindset right now is I need to do A, B, C, and D for us to be a really good team. Her mindset before that was, well, I'm feeling sorry for myself, so I'll let somebody else do it. Well, that doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for our team. But, you know, as a player, as a person, you have to understand what your responsibility is. Right now, I got to tell you, one of the biggest issues that we're going to have to solve is everybody on our team taking some ownership and taking responsibility for this team, like Diana did, you know, and Maria did to a certain extent. And Diana brought it upon herself and took all the pressure and said, I'm going to be the leader of this team. I don't know that anybody on this team feels like, okay, well, now that Dee's gone, whose personality is this team going to reflect?
And why is that, do you think? Because
I don't think we have strong enough personalities.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have strong enough personalities. You know, like in our senior class, you know, you got Jess, AB, and Ashley. It just doesn't. They don't lend themselves to being the kind of personalities. So it's going to have to come from Barbara, who was struggling, Ann, who's got a very quiet personality. Ann's leadership is going to be more, you know, make that 3, like she did at the end of the game where they
called the illegal
offensive
screen.
foul. Okay, which was an unbelievable call, by the way. So that's what's going to have to evolve.
Now, I thought, and we talked about this too, Will Nett played an unbelievable game.
Yeah.
And, well, what is the deal with the shoulder? Because one game she came out and didn't have that brace on. When did she hurt her shoulder, and what's the status?
Oh, it's been ongoing. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And she needed to wear it. She wore it for the Carolina game in the first half, said it bothered her, took it off, and now she's back to wearing it. So, only Will knows, why she needs it, when she doesn't. But she's got a problem in her shoulder, and if she's going to play like that every night, I'm going to strap one on her other shoulder.
Exactly.
We'll get Russell Crowe in here to put a whole suit of armor on her, turn her into American Gladiator.
Hey, yeah, she could do, get 18 and 15 and play 34 minutes again.
Come on, 18 points, 15 rebounds.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
But
and they were at such big times.
Yeah,
too.
and see, like, I don't want right now, because we don't have enough other options. I don't want now for her to go back and go, all right, well, now coach will lay off of me for a month.
I know.
I can go back to my 8 points, 2 rebounds. That can't happen, see? And that's what I'm talking about. You can't come out and get 18 and 15 and now expect me to settle. Mm-hmm. Nor should I expect you, nor should you expect yourself to settle for anything less. Mm-hmm. Or at least trying to do that every night. Will should be trying to get a double-double every night. Mm-hmm. And if she does, then obviously we're going to be that much better team.
Now, are you concerned? Ann Strother played every minute of that game, including overtime, 45 minutes. Are you concerned that will wear her down?
Yes, and we've got to find someone to, step up and do some of that.
Now, poor Mel Thomas, that poor kid cannot, pardon the pun, catch a break,
no.
Even though her nose is broken. So,
no.
But the
only break she has caught has been in the nose.
Yeah. Well, and how about the tragic mask she had to wear?
Yeah.
Is it because I said on the air that she hasn't had the surgery, so they can't fit her for the real face mask, correct?
Well, yeah, it's sometimes I don't understand how things happen. You like to think that you could do something better than that.
I mean, it's the first mask ever made. Or you took it from the Star Trek set. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I remember Alyssa had a ice cream stick one time, a popsicle stick. I think they just got one of those and slapped a couple pieces of rubber bands on it and strapped it to Mel's nose. I don't know how you could play with something like that on. It's like playing behind a telephone pole the whole game. Every time you move, like how the hell are you supposed to play with that? And then, to make matters worse, she goes down in the lane one time and gets cracked in it. And got hit by Will. Now her eyes are watery, her nose is bleeding,
That was horrible.
And she's got this fence post stuck to the front of her nose. And the poor kid, how are you going to play her? So now she's on the bench. Nicole is like, her head was spinning in that game. AB, the minute she got near somebody, they scored.
Yeah, AB. Now, she didn't play at all.
So, I said, hey, forget it. We're just going to take our chances with I'd rather play Ann for 40 minutes. So what has to happen is, players have to come in and take on that kind of responsibility. I remember Jen Rosati or Svetlana or those guys, they wouldn't shirk that responsibility. Mm-hmm. They have a certain responsibility. I have to do this. Mm-hmm. It's not like, well, I might not. There's no choice.
Right. And think about it, and you and I were talking about this last week. This particular team, think about it, for 3 years they've had it pretty good. They've won 3 national championships. Everything has seemingly gone right. Of course, you forget the bad things from our vantage point now. You forget the stumbles over the last 3 years. You'll only remember the good things. But for the most part, these guys have had it pretty easy. This is their first real hard learning experience, which is hard to do when you're juniors and seniors.
Yeah. And the reason it's a hard learning experience is because, first of all, we've only played 3 games. Jessica's coming off ACL. Nicole's new.
Right.
There's so many new guys.
Right.
You
got a new point guard.
You got to remember when Diana was a junior, that group after the undefeated season, 39-0, we lost to the Jaguars in the exhibition game. With D.
Yep.
D fouled out. So.
Yep. You're right. People forget those things.
It was ugly in the beginning of the season, and it's going to be ugly this year. But I got to tell you, after watching a lot of the games on TV, all we got to do.
You got a shot.
all we got to do. I think we do have a shot to win a national championship. because we just have to be a little bit prettier than all the ugly ones. and right now, everybody looks ugly.
Yeah.
That's it. Just a little makeup here and there, and we could come out of this looking pretty good.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll get to some questions. Any reason Ashley Battle did not play in Wednesday's game? You did.
I just addressed that. You know, Ashley Battle. This is her 5th year.
Yeah.
And you know, Ashley Battle needs. She's one of those people that I'm talking about that needs to be more consistent. She probably has more athletic ability and has more natural God-given things than anybody we have on our team. Right now, I just can't seem to find the right buttons to get Ashley to do the things that we need to have done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. Bob from Fairfield. Concerning UConn's past recruits over the same period that Geno most wanted, but for some reason they decided to go elsewhere. This is kind of confusing. To put it another way, name the 5 recruits that you most hated to lose.
I get asked this all the time.
It's funny, I'd never even think to ask
I don't
that.
even know who I hated to lose. Brittany Hunter.
Yeah.
But we got her back. You know,
she came to her senses a year
she's
later.
not the same as she was when she left here on a recruiting trip. She's injured. Hated to lose. Jamila Weidman, who ended up going to Stanford years ago.
She was the same class as Kara Walters and Carla Berube,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. That was a tough one. Samika Randall, I thought would have been a really good player for us.
Yeah.
I thought she could have been somebody really, really good. You know, there haven't been that many that I've said, you know, man, I can't believe we lost that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the girl at Notre Dame, Teresa Borton, I think would have been a really good player for us.
Yeah.
Because she kind of fits in the way we play.
Notre Dame is playing well, huh?
They got beat last night.
Oh, that's right, they did.
By Michigan State at home.
Yeah,
at Notre Dame.
Yeah, you guys play Michigan State.
And we play Michigan
this year.
State.
You got a schedule, man.
You know, you know, in Texas and Tennessee. And
within a 9-day span.
Rutgers twice, BC twice, Notre Dame twice.
Yep. And now, speaking of BC, they just beat Holy Cross last night by 8, and you play Holy Cross on Sunday.
Right.
Holy Cross really gave them a game.
Yeah. I think Holy Cross is always involved in a game because Billy Gibbons, the coach there, always zigs and zags and finagles things and gets those kids well prepared. And they always have the David versus Goliath mentality, you know, when they play the Big East and certainly when they play Boston College. I mean, I don't know how it is when they play Connecticut, but certainly when they play Boston College, you know, Holy Cross being, you know, Holy Cross and BC being BC. And now that BC's going to the ACC and Holy Cross still being the top Catholic school in New England.
Right.
You know, always has been.
Picked again to win the Patriot League.
Yeah. Yeah, and since we all hate BC now, you know, we love Holy Cross.
You just can't love them for 40 minutes on Sunday.
No,
but they always give you a tough game.
No, they always give you a tough game. And
if for no other reason,
it's fun to play them, and for no other reason than just to see Anna Kinney squirm a little bit on the bench over there.
Because she wants
that little pest, because she wants to win so bad against us. She's dying to get back out on the court and play against us.
Okay, another question, a general question that I just randomly thought of. Why do men get 5 more seconds on the shot clock? After all, it takes them less time to get up the court.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. They should get less time. Matter of fact, everybody should get less time. I coached the junior national team in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And we played 24-second shot clock, like the NBA.
Yeah.
8 seconds to get it across half court. It's phenomenal.
Really?
Sure. Because it keeps people from like walking the ball up the floor and making it, you know, boring kind of game. You gotta get into the game. So it should be 24-8 for everybody.
All right. Now, folks, thank you for writing in your questions. Please continue to do so. We will answer as many as we can. www.cptv.org. And again, we will answer as many as we can. We love getting them.
Or the ones we want to answer. Don't get, you know, don't mistake it. You know,
he can get a little fickle sometimes.
Yeah,
as you can
I mean,
imagine.
the ones we don't want to answer, we're not going to. So take your chances, right? And hopefully you'll be one of the chosen ones that we'll choose.
Oh, yeah. Please, on the most exciting half hour on television. So you got Holy Cross up after this, and then Hartford.
Yeah, the Hartford Hawks.
Yeah.
I think they're undefeated, aren't they?
At this time, yes. They
You know?
beat Miami. That was a big win for them.
Yeah, they beat Miami. I think they beat Dartmouth, maybe.
Yeah.
They
So
beat
Jen is
Northeastern
having a
or
great
something.
year. Yeah. And
you know-
Jen will be on our show next time
Yeah.
for Tuesday night's show.
Well, you know what? I told them, whenever you're ready, call me to play.
You better watch
so
out.
the fact that they call me, that means they're ready. Either they've seen us play or they heard of us. So I'm not sure what to make of this.
Well, it will be a great contest. That's on Tuesday, but please stay tuned. The Holy Cross game is coming up next, and we will see you on Tuesday night. Just brace yourselves for another exciting half hour of television. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.